Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. Certainly, among the Semitic peoples, the Israelites stand out as the chosen people by the God of Shem, from the days of Abraham in Ur of the Chaldeans, through Aram and finally reaching Canaan. Throughout the centuries, their faith has been a source of inspiration for many. In this video, I will explore one of the most fascinating Jewish groups, the Sephardic Jews. In the previous video, I discussed the Mizrahi Jews, whose roots trace back to communities in the Middle East, North Africa, and Central Asia. Today, I will address another renowned Jewish group, the famous Sephardic Jews. The origin of Sephardic Jews. In the previous channel video, we explored the history and origin of the Mizraim, or Mizrahi, who are Jewish communities originating from the Middle East and North Africa. With a history spanning millennia, these communities have their roots in countries such as Iraq, Iran, Egypt, Syria, and Lebanon. They maintain their own religious, cultural, and linguistic traditions, often distinct from Ashkenazi and Sephardic communities. In this video, I will address the Sephardic Jews, also known as the Jews of Al-Andalus, a name given by the ancient Arabs of the Iberian Peninsula to the Jews of Portugal and Spain. The Jews from these countries referred to the region of Portugal and Spain as Sepharad. When they settled in Portugal and Spain, they became known as Sephardic Jews, forming one of the largest Jewish communities in Europe, alongside the Ashkenazi. The term Sephardim, as mentioned earlier, is pronounced in the plural in Hebrew, while in the singular it is Sepharad. This denomination originates from the Hebrew word used to reference that region. It is believed that Jewish presence in the Iberian Peninsula dates back to the time of King Solomon, although few records of this exist until the 1st century. During the Great Jewish Revolt, 66 to 73, the Jews rebelled against Roman rule over Judea, leading to the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans in 70 AD and the dispersal of the Jewish population throughout present-day Israel and Palestine, with some reaching Hispania, the Roman name for the Iberian Peninsula. In 587, the Visigothic kingdom proclaimed Catholicism as the official religion, marginalizing those who did not adopt it and gradually restricting their rights. During the period of Islamic Iberia, between the 8th and 11th centuries, Jews enjoyed relative religious tolerance as long as they paid taxes. This was a prosperous period for the Jewish community in the Iberian Peninsula, marked by intellectual and religious flourishing. However, the situation began to deteriorate in the 11th and 12th centuries, with the Islamic dynasties of the Almoravids and Almohads, who were more intolerant towards other religions, and with the intensification of the Reconquista by the Iberian Christian kingdoms. Christians showed no tolerance towards Jews, resulting in the forced conversion of many to Christianity, who became known as New Christians or Marranos. The Sephardim played a significant role in the development of medieval Kabbalah, and many Sephardic rabbis wrote important Jewish treatises that are still studied today. In the 1490s, both Spain and Portugal enforced the forced conversion of Jews residing in their territories and the expulsion of those who refused to do so. Many from the Iberian Jewish community chose to emigrate, heading to North Africa, the Ottoman Empire, other parts of Western and Southern Europe, as well as Spanish and Portuguese colonies in the Americas. In Central and Southern Europe, the Sephardim preserved their culture and language, and many successfully adapted to the culture of their new lands, founding large companies that became world famous and amassing great fortunes. Sephardim who settled in North Africa and the Ottoman Empire lived in relative peace with the authorities and the local population for centuries. Although they were treated as second-class citizens, their religion was tolerated, and they could engage in trade. Additionally, they showed greater receptivity to modernity compared to Ashkenazi communities. In Latin America, Sephardim sought to avoid the attention of the Inquisition by converting to Christianity. Thus, many millions of Latin Americans have, unknowingly, some Jewish ancestry. The Sephardim used their own language, a kind of linguistic creation they developed. They used Ladino, also known as Judeo-Spanish, a peculiar combination of Spanish and Portuguese with elements of Hebrew and Aramaic. Interestingly, this Ladino language was employed as a liturgical form by Sephardic Jews. They maintained distinct traditions, languages, customs, and rituals from their Ashkenazi brethren, who inhabited Central and Eastern Europe. One of the main differences between Sephardim and Ashkenazim is their origin. Sephardim descend from ancient Israelites, originating from the Middle East, mixed with Portuguese and Spanish. However, this mixture is not limited to these groups, as Sephardim also have influences from the Moors and Arabs of the region. Historically, the Moors dominated the Iberian Peninsula for centuries, resulting in significant intermingling with Sephardic Jews. In terms of Jewish Semitic ancestry, Sephardic Jews have a more direct connection than Ashkenazi Jews. While Ashkenazim, despite having a Jewish origin, also have influences from European peoples in their genetic makeup. On the other hand, Sephardim, due to their mixture with Moors and Arabs, have a more evident Semitic ancestry, as Arabs and Moors have historical connections with the Israelite and Midianite tribes. In the Iberian Peninsula, this mixture is even more notable. Around 30% of the Spanish population has Jewish and Arab ancestry. The history of Sephardic Jews in the Iberian Peninsula dates back to the Phoenician navigation era, with evidence of their presence during the Roman Empire. They survived the process of Catholicization and the Visigothic and Moorish invasions. However, they began to face more intense persecutions during the final phase of the Reconquista. Faced with persecution from the Spanish Inquisition between 1478 and 1834, many Sephardic Jews fled the Iberian Peninsula in search of refuge in various territories. This historical period marked the exodus of these communities in search of safety and religious freedom. A large portion of Sephardic Jews fled directly to North Africa, where they became acquainted with Arab peoples and lived in harmony for a long time. Especially in Morocco, they settled and coexisted peacefully with the local Arab population. Additionally, many Sephardim sought refuge in the New World, particularly in Brazil, where the first synagogue in the Americas, Kahal Zur Israel, was established. Others found shelter in Mexico, where a large community of descendants of Sephardic Jews, locally known as Marranos, resides today. These dispersed communities around the world are testimonies to the diaspora and resilience of the Sephardic people throughout history. Currently, Sephardim are divided into Western and Eastern groups. Western Sephardim are known as Jews of the Portuguese nation, while Eastern Sephardim are those who lived in the Ottoman Empire. There are also Sephardim from North Africa who are descendants of those expelled from Spain in 1492 for being Jews. This group settled in North Africa, except for Egypt, mainly in Morocco and Algeria, where they spoke a variant of Ladino called Haketia, along with Judeo-Arabic in many cases. They settled in regions where there were already Jewish communities speaking Arabic and over time integrated into these communities, forming new groups that followed Sephardic customs. With the emergence of Zionism and particularly after the Arab-Israeli crisis in 1967, many Jews residing in Arab countries fled to Israel to escape persecution resulting from the conflict. These Sephardic Jews today form a significant segment of Israel's population, with a cultural tradition distinct from Ashkenazim, originating from Germany and Eastern Europe. It is important to note that the term Sephardic is often used in Israel to refer to Jews from North Africa, but this is a misconception. Not all North African Jews are Sephardim. The ancient Jews of these countries are called Mizrahi Jews or Mizraim, not only those from North Africa but also those from the Middle East in general. Therefore, it is inaccurate to generalize all North African Jews as Sephardic Jews. As we have discussed in another video, Jews from Iraq, Syria, and other regions of the Middle East are correctly called Mizrahi Jews. An interesting curiosity is that Mizrahi Jews are considered the most genetically pure, as they did not intermix with European peoples or other ethnic groups, maintaining their Semitic lineage. This preserves the true genetic heritage of Israel. If you do a quick search on Mizrahi Jews, you will notice a great resemblance in appearance to Arab peoples, which is not surprising considering that ancient Israelites were also pure Semites. Many Jews still retain physical traits characteristic of ancient Israelites, such as arched noses, elongated faces, and expressive eyes, similar to those of Arabs. Soon, I will be bringing you a new video addressing the origin of Jews, this time focusing on Ashkenazi Jews. Thank you for watching the video until here. May God bless you, and see you soon.